Today, we will talk about the high-low method. In cost accounting, the high-low method is a way of attempting to separate out fixed and variable costs given a limited amount of data. The high-low method involves taking the highest level of activity and the lowest level of activity and comparing the total costs at each level. If the variable cost is a fixed charge per unit and fixed costs remain the same, it is possible to determine the fixed and variable costs by solving the system of equations. It is worth being cautious when using the high-low method, however, as it can yield more or less accurate results depending on the distribution of values between the highest and lowest dollar amounts or quantities. Calculating the outcome for the high-low method requires a few formula steps. First, you must calculate the variable cost component and then the fixed cost component, and then plug the results into the cost model formula. First, determine the variable cost component by dividing the difference between the highest activity cost and lowest activity cost by the difference between the highest activity units and lowest activity units. Next, use the following formula to determine the fixed cost component: highest activity cost minus the product of the variable cost and highest activity units. Finally, use the results of the first two formulas to calculate the high-low cost result by adding the fixed cost to the product of the variable cost and unit activity. The high-low method is used to calculate the variable and fixed cost of a product or entity with mixed costs. It considers the total dollars of mixed costs at the highest volume of activity and the lowest volume of activity, assuming the total amount of fixed costs remains the same at both levels of activity. The change in the total costs is the variable cost rate times the change in the number of units of activity. For example, the table below depicts the activity for a cake bakery for each of the 12 months of a given year. Below is an example of the high-low method of cost accounting. Here are 3 key takeaways. 1. The high-low method is a simple way to segregate costs with minimal information. 2. The simplicity of the approach assumes the variable and fixed costs as constant, which doesn't replicate reality. 3. Other cost estimating methods, such as least squares regression, might provide better results, although this method requires more complex calculations. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.